Why are we moving if we have no apologies?
No, you're correct. Okay, we'll take the declarations of conflict of interest, item 4 on page 6, as we unlock the meeting. Now, Melanie, would you like to open up, please?
Tēnā koutou katoa. My name is Callum Anderson, and Mel and I are facilitating this webinar and online stream. Under the New Zealand Privacy Act 2020, we must inform you that this meeting is live streamed and uploaded to a public platform, the NRC YouTube channel. If you do not wish for your image or voice to be on this platform, then we ask you to leave now before we start recording.
Thank you.
Can I just ask a question, Mr. Chair? In the situation, and this is for clarification, in the situation where a councillor was opposed to having their data, I guess, broadcast in perpetuity and content uploaded to a big tech platform, what is the position of our council? Because in that case, would a councillor need to leave?
Jono?
Kia ora, Chair. Kia ora, Peter Lucas. Jono here. I think in that situation, Peter Lucas, we would have come back and talked to council. So we've been operating like this for a period of time after having a kōrero with councillors that they were comfortable that we live streamed and provided the council meetings online. If there was unease amongst councillors with that approach, I think we'd bring it back to a council workshop with councillors to go, how do you want to manage this? Do we want to live stream our council meetings or not?
My question's not about live streaming. My question's about content being stored in a big tech platform for perpetuity and how that data is then possibly used or misused. That's my question.
I think I'd come back and talk. I'm happy to, Councillor Jones, if you'd like us to bring it back and workshop it with councillors around how and where it's stored and the use of that recording. I'm very happy to come back and workshop it with council.
The minutes of the council meeting be confirmed true and correct. Do I have a mover? Jack?
Yep.
I'm happy to second. Kia ora.
Okay, all in favour? Any? Aye. Against? Okay, let's turn to page 14. Receipt of the action sheet, item 5.2. Report from Chris Taylor, Governance Specialist.
Happy to move this.
Okay, welcome, Rick. We've just gone to the action sheet. Reactions here being completed. We're doing catching up with Julian Smith and Lindsay Faithful in the next couple of weeks. Is that right?
You're just trying to secure a date for everyone, but definitely in September.
In September.
Is this a workshop type scenario or just a?
It'll be an informal meeting between council governance, Tuku Tonu, and our joint directors for program.
Can we get David in the room as well?
David. Yes, totally. David, Lindsay, and Julian will all ideally be in attendance.
Fantastic. Thanks. Sorry, did you say there's a set date or not?
Not yet. We're just trying to it works for everybody.
Thanks. So we've got a mover and a seconder.
Can I check who seconded the action sheet?
Okay, so
Amy
checking Amy. All in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Again? Received. Okay, go to page 17, External Managed Investment Funds, 2024-2025, Performance and Allocation of Returns. Do we have Simon Crabb in the room? We do. Now, these 6 recommendations, Do we have a mover to receive? Mover and a seconder to receive and take them individually, or do you want to take them as all as one?
We can receive it first, maybe,
Okay.
and then hear from Simon.
All right, you want to move it?
Yep.
Amy,
John moved, I seconded.
John,
That all 6 be received. Okay.
and that all the 6 be received, and we'll take them one by one. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Okay, received. All right, shall we go to item 2, the budgeted funding of 1.58 million? Simon, is there any questions around this? So should we just work through from 2 to 6, and then if any issues come up, then we can pass the whole lot? Okay, is there anybody who'd like to bring any issues up between 2 and 6? Okay, so we have a mover and a seconder to take 2 to item 6. I have a mover?
Yeah.
No, but we're moving the others now. Okay, Jeff and Jack, all in favour?
Aye.
Against? Okay, received. Okay, done. No questions for you, Simon? Good.
Just confirming that this paper and the subsequent papers are as has been workshopped with council.
Yes, yeah, but I thought there might be still a question.
Yeah, couple. Just making sure.
Okay, let's go to page 53. Item 6.2. We've got a request for approval to carry forward operational budget from 2024 to 2025 financial year into 2025-2026 financial year. We've got Tagger.
I'd like to move all those.
You'd like to move them all as one?
Yep.
Do I have a seconder for Rick's moving?
I'm going to second.
Okay. All in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Okay, proceed. That was easy.
Thank you, everybody.
That's great.
Yeah, thank you. Real good justification.
Okay, go to page 57. Item 6.3, request for approval to carry forward capital expenditure budget from the 24-25 financial year to the 25-26 financial year. We've got Tacker in the room. We've got 2 recommendations. One is to be received, and the other one is the council approves to carry forward 2.3 million.
I'm keen to move those.
Okay, so we've got Rick. Both Rick? Yes. John? Any discussion?
Look, I just want to say that there's plenty of detail there, and I think it's great that you've explained the way you've done. I'm very happy I was very keen to move them and get them going. So thanks, team. Great job.
Yep. Okay, all in favour?
Aye.
Against? Okay, approved. Okay, page 63. Item 6.4. We have a financial accountant recommendations. We've got 3 recommendations here. That the report of the 24-25 provisional financial year end result by Tucker Skipworth, financial accountant, dated 25th of August 2025 be received. Have we got a mover and a second?
Yeah, I'll move all 3, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, check.
I'll second.
Right. Discussion? Anybody got a discussion around this item?
Not workshop.
Okay, all in favour?
Aye.
Against? Okay, received. Okay, go to page 70. Item 6.5, special reserves. Take a Skipworth again. One recommendation. That it be received.
Yep, I'll move it.
Okay, Rick.
Happy to second.
Right. I don't think there's any discussion around this. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Okay, received. Okay, page 83. We've got Simon Crabb in the room. Are there any questions? We've got one recommendation that report of regional rates collection by Simon Crabb, finance manager, date 2nd of August 2025 be received. Jeff will move. Okay, all in favour?
Aye.
Okay, received. Okay, can turn to page 89, item 6.7.
37.
Oh, okay. Yep, I got the wrong page on there. Sorry. Okay, item 6.7.
So I can just backtrack, just a comment on the rates of the ones as an outstanding rates, just a concern about the fact that although the percentage of rates that are being collected is improving, there's still a heck of a lot that just drops off the end after 6 years. So just expressing its concern for that.
Yeah.
That's dead rates to confront that.
Okay.
Yeah. Cheers.
Tuesday. Okay, item 6.7, we've got Simon Crabb in the room again. That the report NRC overall investment portfolio annual returns and balances of the 30th of June 2025 by Simon Crabb, Finance Manager, and dated the 4th of August 2025 be received. Jeff, will move it.
Yeah.
John? Any discussion? All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Okay, received. You okay there? Not going too quick?
No.
Okay. Okay, I've got page 9091, is that correct?
90 for 7.1.
Yeah, 7.1.
I'd like to move this one.
Okay, you're taking all 5?
Yes.
Just receiving?
And I'll second that, Mr. Chairman, as a spot on that panel.
Okay. Okay, Rick, you'd like to discuss?
Yep, I would.
Discussion?
Look, I just want to thank the staff. Jim's on here. These Jim, we're just on navigation. Perfect timing. Look, I just want to thank the staff on this. It's been a lot of work, and I do believe the process was really robust. There's plenty of public consultation. We had the hearings and then the deliberations, and it was I thought there were some good points brought up, and I thought the staff took a lot of time in their final deliberations, and I fully back all the final deliberations. So thanks again. Looking forward to getting it finally signed off, I hope.
We've had one dissatisfied.
Yep.
Person, so that's been dealt with. It's not too bad if you only had one. Okay, John.
One, because wearing life jackets when you're tendering is an issue, but you have to carry them anyway. The information we got was really good because it showed us where the moorings are, and there's actually very few. An awful lot that are outside the 200 metre zone. So talk about saving lives, and there was some talk about our statistics not being quite as accurate as they should be, which was proved to be wrong. So yeah, I have a lot of faith in the what Rick said. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd also like to echo the comments of those two councillors. I think we were really comprehensively informed and really well informed by staff, so thank you one and all. And also, we felt really comfortable in making the decisions we did, well, the recommendations that we did, and they were unanimous. One of the things that became apparent is a bylaw is only a bylaw if it's enforced, and we always leave it to staff to interpret the bylaw, because you can make all the rules you like, but if someone's only going to go a short distance and it's a very, very flat day and there's plenty of freeboard, of course the staff aren't going to issue an infringement. So we have to have confidence that the bylaw will only be imposed where there is a clear case of lack of safety, where lives are in danger. So I got a lot of confidence about that, and especially having staff in the room to confirm that. So yeah, I'm dead keen on this a series of recommendations as is. Thank you.
Yeah, I just asked the question, and it's not hypothetical. It happens all the time. A bunch of kids playing on the beach with the dinghy, swimming, jumping in. So they have to wear a life jacket.
Jim's in the room, Chair.
Jim.
Yeah, no, obviously if it's just kids playing on the beach and scenarios like that, there's lots of summer sort of stuff goes on close to the beach, and we do, as Max said, enforce when there's a need to. Very limited enforcement we do. Most of the work we do out on the water is education. The actual number of infringements we give out are for quite serious offences where we think people have actually dangerously or endangered other people.
So that doesn't answer my question though. I asked, are they required to wear a life jacket?
If they're playing on the beach, no.
Now, the question was if they're in a dinghy.
In and out of a boat. And are you sure this won't extend to, having a ride on a surfboard? You know, what's a vessel?
No, it doesn't say anything about surfboards.
Surfboards are excluded.
Are they
It's stayed in there, they're excluded.
I read it.
No, good question.
Yeah, but because you just see it all the time, kids playing with their boats.
Yeah, so that's
swimming and out, sinking them, and all sorts of things. Yeah, okay.
It's sort of being put on the spot in camera. Can't really, staff can't really say that they're not going to bar it or aren't going to follow it up because it's, of course, accepting breaking the law rather than giving flexibility.
Yeah, but that's discretion. Yeah. What's the rule say?
Just to pick up the last question, just for clarification, kids are in a dinghy off the shore. This pilot will catch it, I'm assuming, but you're saying that from the perspective of implementing, you're not going to be going heavy-handedly and applying that provision in that scenario. Is that what you see? I just want to be clear.
Yeah, it's the aim of the bylaws to create a safe environment for people actually using small dinghies. So if, for instance, they're rowing ashore or entering ashore, then they should be wearing a life jacket. If they're just playing at the beach, that would be considered, you know, a sort of swimming recreational environment. So it's you know, the staff will take a judgment call on whether the safety issue or not.
Amy, you had your hand up? No.
Yeah, I'm moving on to a different topic. So
Okay, final say?
Well,
I'm on the same topic. I've got my hand up.
I'll go at the end.
you want to go at the end? Okay, Peter Lucas?
Well, kia ora, like my question is really what monitoring frameworks will ensure that the bylaw remains relevant as, for example, shipping and recreational activities in Te Tai Tokero evolve?
Bylaws are reviewed every 5 years.
Bylaws
5 years
reviewed.
is quite a long time when we think about how fast innovation is evolving, particularly when we think about the lack of investment in our main roading arterials, and we think about the climate change impact on food security in Northland. I'm just wondering what frameworks within that 5-year period are going to ensure that these bylaws remain relevant. Because 5 years is a long time to wait. So I'm keen to learn more about that framework and understand it.
There was a major change to the bylaws. We don't have to wait for 5 years. If there was a major change in safety was an issue, or any sections of the bylaw. That's correct, Michael. We can just change a small section of the bylaw if we need to and just do that.
I have one other question, and that's really how can the bylaw be enforced in a way that balances maritime safety while supporting economic activity and recreational activities and iwi and community use of waterways?
All those factors have been taken into account.
Is that all there is to say about that? What's been taken into account?
Well, we look at the safety issues. We also look at the part of the issue is trying to get the national consistency around the bylaws as well, so that the same bylaws are in place for main boating activities around the whole country. They're the same laws. So that's one of the factors. So there's a national safer boating forum which looks at the national consistency, and we try and align ourselves with that whilst taking into account local factors.
Okay, I asked that question because where it says Māori impact statement, it says, while there are no proposals in the draft navigational safety bylaw that are considered to have significant specific impact on Māori, The process of consultation included targeted engagement with Māori by way of pānui, which is basically a notice, and all the iwi and hapu groups on council's database. So that's providing advice that a bylaw is going to be developed and perhaps agreed to. I'm really concerned about what other ways we would engage when we know that, for example, fisheries, recreational fisheries, iwi and hapu rights to gathering kaimoana and other things like that, even weaving resources in lakes, in rivers, along river banks, and of course in the coastal areas. How is that impacted, for example, when we think about what Joe has raised to our attention, which is the use of dinghies?
We don't get involved in fishing laws or anything like that. It's purely safety laws. Purely for maritime safety. So we don't take into account fishing activities or anything like that. We don't restrict or any action around fishing activities or kaimoana growing.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but what I'm asking about is how do these bylaws speak to other regulations that exist, and how do they reflect what's occurring in other regulations that are in effect, and whether or not we're thinking about that in so much as this is concerned?
I'm not sure I really understand the question there.
Kia ora, Chair. John
That's all right.
I assume when we're putting together the bylaw, you're having a look at the role and function of this bylaw, how it's integrated with other pieces of legislation, whether it's the
yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about, Jono. That's exactly it.
Kapai. Michael, I wonder if you're able to help, given you're the policy support for it, just to make sure that when we're developing a bylaw, I think what Peter Lucas is asking is that we're not developing the bylaw in isolation by itself, that we're cognizant of all of the surrounding bits of legislation and activities, and to making sure that we're not cutting across any of those other activities or provisions that are managed through other bits of legislation. Is that where you were going, Councillor Jones?
Yes, it is where I'm going, because it also makes mention of kaiwi lakes. You know, there are certain things that have already been created, and I just wanted to understand how our bylaw will speak to other regulatory frameworks that exist within Te Tai Tokero. Kia ora.
Well, thank you for that.
For example, tai apure. Tai apure, whilst that's not our jurisdiction, it is a thing that we need to know about.
So, yes, we do take those other pieces of legislation into account. It is its own niche, I guess, silo of legislation, but those other things are there, and they are thought about when we're putting the bylaw together. But it does have focus on safety. One of the ways in which we do take those other things into account is through public feedback, and the feedback we have had has been quite broad, and that is one of the ways it informs our bylaw, but also through legal review, which hasn't raised any issues in terms of infringing on other pieces of legislation. And also we've done some work with Maritime New Zealand, who would also have an eye on broader legislative frameworks.
Well, thank you.
Okay, now, Amy, you had
I think Tui's got her hand up too, and then I can go next.
Okay, Tui,
I'm finishing.
you're finished?
No, I'm finishing. Quite a reply, I hope.
Morena koutou. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chair. Just following on from the questions from Councillor Jones, and this might be more for Jono as well. is there a consistency across our departments when it comes to engagement with Māori around plan changes and the like? You know, like saying that you've sent a letter in the mail in 2025, it might have been acceptable in 1990, but you know, we actually know we have a massive communications team that knows that sending letters out to individual, you know, 400 Māori entities, just Marae alone, around the country is not going to initiate effective engagement. And yet, through other departments of our council, we have really great strategies around engaging. Oh, and what I think I might be hearing is that there is an assumption in the staff that the marine safety, there's no cultural space, there's no cultural impacts, it's just marine safety, and that's just absolutely not the case. So, I mean, we're all aware that we had the MACA hearings here in the courtrooms here. There was a whole week plus of many hapu who were interrogated by legal counsel, and a lot of the questioning was around marine safety. So I just think today I will support the moving forward on this bylaw, but I think in a strategic way in its entirety that the marine team needs to do some capacity building and needs to have some more of an understanding, better relationships on the ground. And I think that then the responses from our team around this kaupapa and how it relates to kaupapa Māori will just be enhanced. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, I don't think there's any response from that. Amy, and then Rick.
Thank you. I'm just going to move on to a slightly different subject. So yeah, I guess overall, thanks very much to the councillors who ran the process on our behalf, and obviously to the team who did heaps of really good work. I enjoyed reading it. I felt that there was really good evidence for the positions and decisions that have been put forward. So thank you, and I feel like any member of the public could read it as well and understand why we are proceeding with the decisions as recommended. I guess just the question that came to mind for me was around Part E and in relation to the Ruakaka and Waipu estuaries and that interaction with wildlife. And again, thank you for the information. I think it's really clear that over time we've realised that this bylaw isn't the appropriate mechanism for having that management action in relation to biodiversity. But I'm just mindful that, and maybe it sort of aligns with the kōrero that we've just heard, I'm mindful that we have other aspects of our business that very much are focused on protecting biodiversity. So I guess just wanting to, while I will accept that this is the way we will proceed in relation to the maritime safety bylaw, I would like to ask that our team, our biodiversity team, could spend some time with the Department of Conservation and talk to them about the mechanisms that they have to move forward and potentially provide a bit of support, because we do have a role here for biodiversity in Northland, and I guess it's just that holistic view of our functions and making sure we're kind of consistent with how we operate for our community and for our environment. So I guess I don't know who that's a question for, but are we able to work constructively with the department through the other element of our work on that?
So you're making sure there's communication line from what we're expecting to DOC, that they acknowledge that we're
basically handing over the responsibility to them because they have the right legislation, and I can understand that. But I guess if we put the environment at the forefront, we know that right now DOC are very poorly resourced to do new work.
DOC is aware of this as in they've been involved in the process, but that we reach out to them to make sure that we can see what support we can provide to make sure that they fill that gap from an ecological perspective.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, Rick's been waiting in the...
Just to sum up,
you want to sum it up now?
I want to do my right of reply, sure. Yep. So look, again, I want to thank the staff for the huge amount of work that's gone on, and also thank you, Amy. I didn't thank the other councillors, so thanks for that. We had quite a few meetings about that. But you guys did a lot more. You know, I know it's been a long process and it's taken way longer than we thought, and it's really good that we can sign it off now, I hope. I just want to bring out a couple of points. First is that not only do the staff have been involved in this process, they've now got to go and enforce the bylaw. And that is why to me, it's so good to have practical people setting a bylaw who know what does and doesn't work. And some of these things just do not work. So we talk about the, for instance, the Ruakaka and Waipu estuary. The fact that the information is shared to us that you can only use Waipu for kiteboarding 12 days a year for 2 hours a day because of the tides. So that really is a really small amount, a window in the year that people can actually go kiteboarding in there. And I know that as our CEO pointed out, the Department of Conservation did submit, and they have said if we carry on with this as proposed, they will try and do something about it in the next couple of years. So I don't know if we need to. You didn't know about that, Amy?
No, I saw that. I just think that they're under-resourced.
Yep. So the next one I just want to cover is, look, I've thanked the staff, and I think it's really important. They've got to enforce it. It's really difficult when a bylaw is not the same right around the country. And the thing with this, the 200 metres, is that most other regions if they haven't got it, they're bringing it in, and it's really important. It's really important that if you go to Wellington, you should have a life jacket on within 200 metres ashore. If you go to Otago, you should have a life jacket on. So everybody's the same. We are the ones that weren't fitting in, so that's why I think it's important. To me, it's like wearing a seatbelt. You get in the car, you put your seatbelt on. You get in a boat, you put your life jacket on. It doesn't sit in the front of the boat. What's the point of having a seatbelt behind you when it's supposed to be in front of you? What's the point of having a life jacket in the front of a boat when it should be on you? And just to sort of drive that home, the most recent drowning in in Northland was within 200 metres ashore, and it was from a craft, and they were not wearing a life jacket. So, that just drives it home for me that this needs to happen among all the other changes to the bylaw. And once again, thanks to the staff.
Okay, thanks, Rick, for wrapping that up. Okay, so we've got Jack moved it and Rick seconded it. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next one is NRC and Ngāpuhi Investments Fund Limited, Te Whatunui, MOU in relation to North Port Group Limited, item 7.2. We've got two recommendations. We've got Bruce in the room. Do I have a mover and a seconder? I'd like to move it.
Yeah, I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. Okay, we've it's been long enough coming. Bruce, you've worked both sides and they've agreed on all the changes. I think it's been a job well done, and I think this is the last stage of wrapping up our project. So thank you, Bruce. Is there any other discussion around this?
I'd just like to give my approval that we're doing this in an open meeting, and so that it's really completely transparent for our community. It's really important. It's open.
Jeff, I'd just like to echo that. I think there's a lot of good faith in here, and the agreement, the MOU, is incredibly simple, and it's a real good faith document. So yes, I approve it in its entirety. I think it's very easy to read. I'm amazed how short and sweet and clear it is. So thank you. I'd like to thank Te Whatunui for their good faith negotiations on this matter.
Okay, no other discussion? Okay, all in favour?
Aye.
Okay, received. Okay, I've got page 196. Not sure what it is. Avian influenza bird flu, item 7.3. We have got three recommendations here. Do I have a mover and a second to take all three, or you want? We have workshopped this. I'll move it.
I'm happy to second it. Kia ora.
John. Okay. Any discussion? I've got no discussion. I think this has been over. We've been 52,066 we've agreed to. It's just part of what we do. Yep, we've got the money there. Anything, John? You second it?
It's just worded in such a way that it's out of time rather than be prepared is is what we need to be.
All right. Okay. I think being prepared is the key.
Just one little comment. In another day, MPI would have paid for this. They just absolute kind of. It's a major retreat from central government, expecting regional government to pick up the tab again. I mean, this is a nationally important issue, and yet they're expecting us to pick up the tab. So I think it's highly ironic that you have politicians saying, let's do away with regional councils, let's do away with the functionality, and yet with the very next turn, we're expected to pick up the tab for a national, what really is a national issue. But I'm happy we're doing it. It's about leadership. We've got major issues with, not only industry, but also with our native species. So, and I noticed actually there's a vaccine's been tested on several parrot species, and it's working quite well, except for kakariki, I believe. Or was it kakariki? Anyway, or was it kaki? I think they didn't work with.
Kakariki, it's challenging, and the vaccine will really only be available for those in captive facilities. Wildlife, you have to catch the animal. So, and this is
very much a last stand. If we look like we're going to lose a species, we can have a whole lot in captivity and we can inoculate them. That's how serious this could become. But anyway, I approve where we're going. A little bit surprised we're not doing it in-house, but I accept Jono's recommendation that we're better to get everybody up.
Okay, Marty?
Yeah, just to acknowledge that it is a national problem. Are we coordinating well with all the other regions so that we're not doing any duplication?
Nicky's nodding her head.
And Chair, one of the reasons for tendering it out is to try and get some efficiencies by using the same contractor across multiple regions.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So, Johnny, you've been working on this as your biosecurity group at regional sector?
Yes, that's true. And the point that Councillor Paul raises is correct. There are ongoing conversations with MPI around why the regional council is needing, a regional sector is needing to pick up this coordination facility, and there are ongoing discussions around what support MPI may be able to provide alongside ours.
Okay, Peter Lucas.
Kia ora. Look, I'm very much in support of this paper. What I wanted to ask was more about preparedness. What preparedness investments are most critical to reduce the economic and ecological impacts to a potential outbreak in Northland? And that might be how this paper is advised to the relevant subcommittee or committee in council. That's my first question. And then, of course, how should we as council collaborate with iwi, MPI and local communities to ensure rapid detection and like coordinate a response in the event that it's required urgently? Those were just my two questions.
Okay, we have got Nikki in the room. Happy to answer that, Nikki.
Sorry, through the chair. I fully agree with you, Councillor Lucas, and this is what the heart of this paper is actually trying to identify with our communities where those high risk sites are. So we have a good understanding, but also working with our communities to identify those high risk sites, and particularly those where there might be multiple landowners or multiple parties, so that when, and it is a when this does come, that we can all understand what our roles and responsibilities are, who's going to do what, how do we manage the outbreak or anything if as required. And I know that's not necessarily a comforting answer, but it is really about getting ready, having the plans in place, and our next steps.
I only mention that because, of course, the kuaka, which lands in, around now in the Pārenga Harbour and the Rangaunu Harbour, Of course, it comes from Siberia, and it stops off along the way on occasion, but some of them fly direct. And so I would encourage engagement with those tribal groups that are the landowners all around that harbour, particularly because having access to actually monitor what's occurring when these birds do arrive will be important for urgent intervention. Kia ora.
And yes, we are. That's the next steps for us. Although, with them arriving from Siberia, because it's actually been in the northern hemisphere since the early 2020s, it's considered a less of a risk because it's so virulent. The birds are unlikely to make it, but that's not to say that there's no risk, and that's why we're doing this preparedness now. And so, yeah.
Thank you so much for your feedback and response. I appreciate that. Kia ora.
Yeah, just listening to the radio on the way down this morning, there was an incident in a poultry farm down in South Island.
Yeah.
It was isolated, but the impact of it is $100 million to the pet food industry, and they still can't get into China yet, even though MPI have said the place is clear. They're still waiting for an order. So that's going to be the impact of bird flu coming to the country.
Okay, no other discussions, all right? So all in favour? Against? Okay, received. Thanks, Nikki, for your input there. Go to page 202, item 7.4, biosecurity operational plan. Got Don, you're doing that, Caden. We've got 3 recommendations here.
I'll move all 3.
Jack, you'll move all 3.
I'd just like food to be put at this stage.
What was that, Joe?
I'd like to see them separately.
Okay.
Separately, yeah.
Okay, so we've got, do we have a seconder for Jack or?
Look, I'll move the receipt 1.
You want to remove this to receive it?
Yes.
Okay.
Happy to second.
Okay, all right.
Well, I did that.
No,
I moved. No, well, I'll move number 1 then, because this came.
I want to speak to it.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
This came out of the biosecurity and biodiversity.
Okay, Jack,
Party, so I intend to defend it.
We're receiving item 1.
Yep.
Okay.
So I've got might be a little bit of a simple question. I'd like to know where gold clam, Madagascar, ragwort and kalupa sit in this. So I've read it closely and maybe I couldn't find it in there. I'd just like to know what's the story.
Okay, Jack.
Yeah, well, this is the operation. This is the current operation plan. This isn't the new strategy that's being developed as we speak, and it will be adopted next year. So what this is an intended rollover of the existing operational plan, which is what we do in an operational sense every year. In some ways, it's like a 10th of the KPIs of the 10-year strategy. 10-year regional pest management plan they're called now. So this is basically just the operational plan, which is what we do in operations. And because we're adopting a new regional pest management plan next year, the idea was just to roll this one over, making small adjustments where we have operational differences right now, like deer. So what we're saying is we're not abandoning gold clam. Gold clam wasn't in this past strategy because it didn't exist here. We've still got all our actions. We're still doing all the actions we are on gold clam and Madagascar and ragwort and all these other things. This isn't shutting any of those things out. All this is just a procedural document management to keep us going for the next 12 months.
So I see gravel groundsels in there, but look, I'm not satisfied with that. With due respect, Jack, I just think it's totally inadequate. You know, we've got to absolutely pivot regarding Madagascar and ragwort. We've had it for 25 years, and it's a reflection on, I believe, on us all.
It doesn't stop that.
It doesn't stop it. I think it should be highlighted and driven, and it's not. So I can't support it.
But MadRag's not actually in the RPMP, is it? So we can't put it in the operational plan. This is just a functional. This is just a document management.
Well, I think we just told a minute ago we could make amendments as necessary. You know, I believe we need to make an amendment. We should have made the amendment, and we should be proceeding, giving it full more emphasis. I think it's a crisis that we're sleepwalking through. It's my view.
Nothing in here prevents us from doing whatever we want to do, or what we are currently doing, or what we want to do with regard to Madagascar ragwort or gold clam or caliper, for example. Great example. So this is about basically just minor amendments to an existing document. We cannot add those organisms to those operational plan because they're not in the regional pest management plan. We can still take action under the Biosecurity Act. We just can't use the op plan. That's all simple. It's just a procedural thing.
Okay, John, I have a response.
Councillor
John?
Oh, well, I'm a farmer and, you know, I've always been on weeds and got quite a good reputation for keeping most of them out. We haven't done a good job in Northland for the last 30 years. I look at fennel-weed, the tobacco weed. We've got the course and the blackberry, which we seem to have given up on. You look at the railway lines, district councils, there's nothing being done. Farmers used to have to maintain their own verge, and I think we should go back to that and enforce it. Forestry is another offender. Many farmers are offenders as well. We need a bit of a stick out there to show that we mean action. We've got a huge problem that our children are going to inherit. And I reckon we need to review why we are so lenient on weeds, particularly on the roads and railways. Thank you.
Yep.
Just to, and slightly repeating what Councillor Craw said, so the Regional Pest Management Plan is currently up for review, and that's where we identify what weeds, for example, weeds or pests, are we going to include and what's our management approach? How hard do we go? Is it eradication? Is it managing control sort of thing? So that's where we identify what's our approach. There's this operational plan here is, and I'm just looking at Kate and Jack to make sure I'm correct here, is only an operational plan for the implementation of our current regional pest management plan. So that's its limitation, that's the scope of it. That's not to say though that we've got these other biosecurity activities around gold clams, Madagascan ragwort, caliper, that we can do outside of the operational plan and that we are actively working on. If there's some corridor around us needing to go harder and faster, whether it's for Madagascar ragwort or gold clam, then yes, very happy to have that corridor, but it's not something for included in the operational plan. It's a separate plan that we can come up with because it's not currently in the regional pest management plan.
Okay, we've got Joanna Barr online as well to respond. You're online, Joanna?
Kia ora, through the chair there, I was just going to note that one correction or amendment that could be made to this, that Councillor Carr is just noting there, that it is referring to gravel groundsel, and through that minor amendment that Council passed the other day, we do have Madagascan ragwort in our current plan, but it just has, it essentially has been swapped out for that single gravel groundsel boundary rule, which we will continue to, you know, enforce on receipt of complaint. So you could, that in that list of species that this operational plan covers, that Madagascar ragwort could be or should be substituted for the gravel groundsel in that list, but it doesn't that wouldn't necessarily change, you know, any of the way we're operating, you know, because we're going to continue to enforce that existing rule.
Well, thank you, Joanna. I think that's helpful. But you know, really, our whole, this council's whole approach with Madagascan ragwort is to avoid any financial exposure. And really, I think the council should rise to the occasion with this particular weed. And we've done it with caliper. We've done it with other invasive species, Mediterranean fanworm, but we're not doing it with Madagascan ragwort. And I just think we've dropped the ball severely on that one. We owe an apology to our community that's taken us 25 years to identify it, and we don't need to follow that up with an action. So I think we should do what Joanna suggested and work out a meaningful strategy to get stuck in and do some work. Obviously, it's going to be biocontrol, And if we wait for everybody else to do it, the problem just gets bigger and bigger. We should provide leadership on this one.
I was under the impression that we are actually, that we are going to supporting Ian Sizer with his petition to government, that it really is a national issue, and driving MPI to give us that support and financial backing for it.
Through the chair, that's not providing leadership. That's following someone and supporting.
Driving.
Yep, righto.
Do we need, Mr. Chairman, is there a appetite for a further amended?
I think an amendment from Rebel.
Can we vote on that?
Gasker?
Yeah.
So what, sorry,
Part of it. Are we talking about, Joe?
I've got a question on that.
Yes, I think it's a containment requirement, isn't it, by memory? Jana might tell us to go back to it. It's not an exclusion, it's next layer down. Gravel ground supply.
Okay, through the chair there, that was as a query for me, was it?
Yep, to you, John.
Yeah, so it's a sustained control species. So for sustained control species, that's usually where we have rules to like limit impact on neighbours, or just, mechanisms that reduce spread, so people, can't plant or sell and things like that. So it's a good neighbour rule that currently is a 50-metre buffer rule, a boundary rule, and in the new plan we're looking at making that the 100-metre boundary rule. So the current one is the sustained control species, and it would just be a straight substitution, therefore, gravel groundsel in that list, as we did through that minor amendment.
Okay. You happy with that?
I accept.
Oh, you accept it? Okay.
It's different.
So that's noted, that change?
Well, we haven't voted on it yet.
Kia ora, Chair, just clarify. I'm not clear, Joe. Is there a change to the operational plan here that you're promoting? I want to make sure that we're clear.
Clearly is. I'm quite happy to make a motion that this lie on the table and we'll come back with a real strategy for Madagascar ragwort, and that we use speedy process to actually vary the current document.
I don't think we can let this matter lie on the table. We have to adopt an operational plan within 4 months, I think, isn't it?
3 months.
3 months of end of the year. So this is kind of our last opportunity. But we can still leave ourselves open to further amendment to it if we needed to. I don't think we need it. I think it's about the actions, not the wording and the operational plan. But if Joe's got a suggestion about where we would change the operational plan, I'm all ears. Where does it come in?
Through the chair there on page 213 of the agenda, there's a and gravel groundsel appears in the sustained control list there at the top. Yeah, page 7 of the actual plan itself as it's inserted, but 213 of the agenda pack.
14.
Is that on your one? Okay, what am I looking at?
So we're changing on attachment 1, item 7.4, gravel groundsel, just substitute, take that out and replace it with Madagascar ragwort. That's what we want?
That would reflect what's in the RPMP, which this document ties into.
All right, so
Amy?
So we're just taking that, are we just adding that to the proposals?
Yeah.
No, so we've got a mover and a seconder to receive the
Yeah.
report. So we haven't actually gone on to 2 and 3 yet. So maybe just put that we received the report, then you're going to have to look at what you want to do with recommendations.
let's approve. Received?
Yeah.
All in favour? Okay, now the amendment reads as, we're just going to replace.
We haven't moved it yet, have we, too?
Oh, can we have a mover and a seconder for item 2 and 3?
Well,
Yeah, well,
We're going to put them in.
subject to amendment.
Yeah.
Let's go back. I'll go back now from that list. Read it.
Sorry,
Sorry.
I've got a question.
Well, we can open it.
Okay, okay. So why are we doing it now when we've had this for a week? Why didn't you bring it up earlier, Joe? That's what I don't understand. So you should have done that. We've had plenty of workshop time. We could have discussed this before. So that's frustrating. Is there any, if this goes through, is there any delay in the implementation? Is there any extra cost? And does it affect the new plan? So those are my questions.
Okay, we'll get Joanna to answer those questions. Did you hear the questions, Joanna?
I think I've got the list there. So if it's just the accepting that, the other changes and with this amendment of a straight substitution for gravel groundsel, that shouldn't delay the implementation. It doesn't affect our new regional pest management plan. That's just still going through its drafting process, and it will go to public consultation. So it doesn't have any effect there. So yeah, those shouldn't cause any issue for us with that straight substitution.
Cost, like staff time and the cost, is there anything involved in that, Joe?
No, through the chair there, it should no direct cost for us there because it's not imposing any additional kind of work that we're not already doing with the change we made to the rule through that minor amendment.
Okay, thanks.
Amy?
So yeah, my question is just whether the operational plan is a public-facing document. And if it is, I think from this conversation, you can probably see that it would just be good to ensure that when we present it to the public, we make it clear that this doesn't hold all of our biosecurity work. You know what I mean? So just the conversation we've had to have as a council about how we have work that we're doing proactively outside of this, and that this just reflects the operational element of the current RPS, which is under review, blah, blah, blah. Because I think it is fair what Joe is saying around some of the things you expect to see in there up front, and getting a lot of resources aren't there. So yeah, just in terms of our comms, I think it would be helpful.
A footnote.
Yeah, well, just I guess I assume it goes on the website, so maybe just on that page something that just kind of explains how the biosecurity functions work. Maybe that's already covered, but if we are confused, you can assume that the public would be confused too.
Nice one. The question, Chair, is to amend recommendation 2. So it talks about including the refinements which are proposed. And Joanna might tell me, if you strike out gravel groundsel and substitute it with Madagascar ragwort, is there gravel groundsel in Northland?
Yeah.
Okay, if there is, we want to have that additional to gravel groundsel. We don't want to actually substitute it. Yeah. Okay. So
Through the chair. Sorry.
Yes, I go.
Oh, sorry, that was just responding to that question, Councillor Carr there, that the reason it would be a straight substitution is that is the way it was done when we made the minor change, and it was done that way to just meet the definition or the criteria to make it a minor change. That it was being changed not because gravel groundsel is not a weed in its own, in its own right, but that the original intent of the rule was to deal with what was believed to be and behave, gravel groundsel at the time. And so when we do the new RPMP, we can consider having both in there. But that list in the table is actually just a reflection of our species, the species listed as pests under our current regional pest management plan, which with the substitution, gravel groundsel is not and Madagascar ragwort is.
substitution though, is the point.
Yeah, but we don't intend to take that level of action against gravel groundsel. It's just an ID issue. I think we can just take Joe's word for it here.
Okay, so we just need to add to that two, even the brackets, substituting gravel groundsel with Madagascar ragwort after the word proposed, including.
I can provide some
Okay.
words, Councillor Carr, and with the substitution of Madagascar ragwort, with the substitution of Madagascar ragwort for gravel groundsel and the pest weed sustain control table.
Okay.
Right, you'll need a mover in a second.
Yeah, well,
okay. You've moved it, Joe. You've seconded it.
Second.
Okay. All in favour?
I move those three too.
I'll just do two now.
Okay.
Well, no, 2 and 3. I'm happy to second.
You're happy to second 2 and 3?
Yeah.
Joe? Okay.
Well, I'm against, and I want to record it.
Okay, that's fine. So all in favour?
Yep.
Aye. Against?
Against.
Okay. Received. Okay. Right. Item 7.5, 236. Submission to Local Government Act System Improvements Bill. Carla here. Yep. We got 8 recommendations. I think I wouldn't mind them as we got to step through them. Can I have a mover and a second to receive this?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm happy to move that it be received. Kia ora.
Okay, and I think Marty or Amy. Marty. Okay, all in favour to receive?
Aye.
Against? Okay, received. Okay, now we'll go through items 1 to 8, item 2 to 8. Sorry.
We just have a procedural discussion before we do that.
Yes.
Yeah. So Te Ruarangi are putting in their own submission. All right. So
just double checking with staff. No, Te Ruarangi aren't putting in their own submission.
okay, they're not. Okay, because their point 2 actually is opposition, complete and total opposition to the government. Proposed legislative change. It's at odds. We're supporting it, and then their point 2 actually reverses that position. Now I read it. Okay, page number if you want, 246.
On 2.2, the inclusion under 2.1. Providing for councils to promote the social, economic, environmental and cultural well-being of communities, and the purpose of local government reflects the connection local authorities have to their communities and the wide-reaching impact of the work they deliver. Is that what you're referring to?
Yep. Okay. So what the government's doing is taking out the what do they call it? The four
well-beings.
Four well-beings. Right.
Yeah.
And what we're saying is, no, we want more back. So either you, the submission that this council supported when we workshopped it was nuanced by, let's try to steer this thing rather than take it on head on and spin the wheels. And that was the sort of the ethos or the philosophy of what we did. So what we're doing now is actually taking it head on. I'm quite happy if the submission went in with the green highlights saying that these are the intentions of the submission of Te Ruarangi. This is the council submission, and this is Te Ruarangi's submission highlighted in green. Quite happy.
Even that's not what they're asking. What we're asking for.
No, we don't have. We don't have the option. We don't even have the option put to us about adopting L1 and 4Y. At any rate, I've said my point.
Okay, well, that's a question, Jono. How do we stand on that?
We set to vote, don't we?
Sorry, I'm just thinking this through. You could go through each of the additions that were proposed at Te Ruarangi and see what, and if council supports the inclusions of some, then you include them as the council submission. If there's a point that council doesn't support but wishes to highlight as the views of iwi and hapu of Te Ruarangi, then you could have that as a specific point at somewhere within the body of the submission. So you just highlight that this is the view of iwi and hapu of Te Ruarangi. So for example, Councillor Kerr, if councillors don't support the inclusions of the four well-beings, that view from Te Ruarangi could still be highlighted in the submission. It's just highlighted that it's the view of iwi and hapu representatives on Te Ruarangi rather than the formal council position.
Yeah, Chair, I'm very comfortable with that, and I just think we should do it with all of them and just say, just put that statement there and see it in.
I'm just, Kia ora, Chair, I'm just looking at Bruce and Kyla as I wasn't at Te Ruarangi and just making sure that I've just outlined as you don't see. Yep, come on, thank you.
Yep. So do we,
I'd move the amendment in that direction if that would help.
okay, do we have a mover?
Can we just vote on it first?
So I think you just need to go through each item to
Yeah.
decide first if council supports it.
Okay, let's start with item 1.2. Okay, so we got, while also recognising that the council may still choose to consider and accommodate the needs of certain communities who could be digitally excluded due to the limited internet access. Do we have all in favour of supporting that?
Yeah.
Big one for Northland.
Oh, do we go in a second, everyone?
Well, each one's a recommendation. So you
Okay, I need movers, Amy and
I'll
Rick.
second, yeah.
Okay, all in favour? Okay, so that's moved. Let's go to item 2.2. Do I have a mover and a seconder?
I'll move.
Okay, Marty?
It's not flying in the face of central government. We're still agreeing with their economic goals, but we're also looking after our people on a regional basis.
Well, we have one mover.
Yep, I'll second.
Okay. All in favour?
Aye.
Against?
I'm
against.
Yeah, I was, yes.
You want to see hands.
We had a bit of discussion here and John hasn't looked it up.
Okay, we're up to item 3.
So 5.4.
Can we please just go back
Yeah.
and please, can people put a hand up if they're in favour or against, just so I can be clear for the minutes?
Favour?
Thank you.
Against? Okay,
Carry.
carried. Okay, now we'll go down to item
4.
4.
No, we didn't do 3, did we?
3,
It is
item
that.
3, 5.4.
Oh, 5.4, okay.
Yep,
Too many bits.
Too many.
So we're doing 5.4,
which is a
including
code of
3.
conduct. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, do I have a mover and a seconder for item?
I'm happy to move that one.
Yep, I'll second.
You up to date with that, everything, John? Are you on the right page? Okay, just wait for John to catch up. 248.
248. Not for 248.
It's to do with the code of conduct, council's code of conduct. I thought it was actually very well written by the staff. So we've got a mover and a seconder. All in favour?
Aye.
Against?
Yep, I prefer our existing council one.
I do too.
That's not what it is. They're talking about having one code of conduct for New Zealand. So this would be more aligned with what we currently have.
Well, so we've already voted on that.
Yep.
Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is on page John 250. Do I have a mover and a seconder? It's
I'll
on
move that.
Hey, Rick. Seconder, Jack. All in favour?
Aye.
Against?
Just reading it.
No, it's all in favour.
Is that everybody in favour, is it?
Yep.
Cool.
Is that all of them?
That's the lot.
That's the lot of those. So
Then you've got 7 and 8.
So we've got 7 and 8 left now, which is a submission with inclusions as agreed above be approved and lodged with the Governance Administration Committee via Parliament website on or before virtually 12 o'clock on Wednesday, the 27th of the 25th. I have a mover and a seconder for that.
I'll move that.
I'll move, or second that, and 8, include 8 on that.
I'll do 8 separate. We'll just do one at a time. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Okay, received. Okay, and number 8, the submission be signed on behalf of council by the Chief Executive Officer. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Received. Carry. Okay, we go to the Chair's report on page 251. 8.1 item. Is everybody catching up there all right?
Yep.
Okay, so that's on page 251. I'll move it. Okay,
How's your Kellogg's going?
it's going good.
Good breakfast?
All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Okay, received. Okay, we've got the big one now. We've got the Chief Executive's report on 252, item 8.2. We have a recommendation that that it be received. Can I have a mover? Amy, John. Right, discussion. We've got Colin in the room.
First comment from me.
Couple of glasses on.
Thanks, Sam. Just to acknowledge that partnership staff up front, Kiwi Coast, just awesome results as always, and it's a great time of year to celebrate that with Kiwi Listening just being completed. And always very proud of our partnership we have with Kiwi Coast. It's one of the ones that I think everyone in Northland is really stoked with how that works and what they're achieving. I then just had a question for Colin, and it's just looking at the compliance monitoring in relation to wastewater treatment plants. And I'm just very aware that out at Parua Bay, WDC are struggling with infrastructure which is having issues. And so I guess just mindful that our reporting in this form doesn't give any information because it's not technically a wastewater treatment plant. However, they're having issues with trying to manage overflow by using the bog dock to do extensive removal of wastewater. So I guess just wondering, is there a way for the community to get any visibility through our compliance work of how that is operating for WDC, or is that something the community just needs to take to WDC directly?
Chair, happy to, if council in general are interested in that matter, extend a report to have specific comment regarding some of the larger scale reticulation systems. And it's not the only system that's got issues in terms of reticulation. Katoa is another area where there's significant issues with infrastructure. So if council would like some expansion of the report,
if that would be possible, I think that would be really awesome, because I guess our lenses of the environmental impact, and when those reticulation systems are failing, there's definitely potential for environmental impact and potentially even human health impact when downstream you have shellfish beds and the like. So I would really appreciate that visibility if it's easy enough for you to share the data. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody agrees.
Just further to that, if WDC were a dairy farmer, would we be prosecuting them?
Through the chair, no, because they've actually are making progress on the matter. They've spent significant dollars on pumping away effluent to avoid overflows. It's not a quick fix solution.
So can dairy farmers take heart from that then? Just that, really, personally, I think we should be changing our whole concept of waste treatment. That's my own personal view. So I don't, we're letting all of these plants off, not all of them, but many of them scot-free. And, nothing, probably it's been well emphasised, the Rawani, Kohu and Hokianga, and it's also happening here, is that we've got to be changing how we treat shit.
So, again, through the chair, at the last Audit and Risk Committee, I reported on some options for compliance with wastewater treatment plants. So, in that, it was approved that we was taking a hard line in terms of higher level report connection. So that's already been addressed, council.
Yeah. Not getting at you, Colin, just getting at the system.
So that has been addressed through that last item.
Hugely expensive systems and ineffective by the sounds of it. Thanks.
You were going to respond?
Colin's answered.
Okay, John, and then Jack.
Yeah, good news for Kawa sewage system. Page 246. Hang on there. Yeah, it's just really hard to read that diagram there of the circularity.
Sorry, John, you said 246.
Page 246, yep.
It goes back to the privilege of local government with me.
Yes, be on the right page. Because
Not 264 you're referring to?
264.
264.
Right.
264. Did I say one? Sorry, 264, yeah, just the clarity of that is so poor. You can't really read it. But then you move down to 267. Very good news story. The video about the farmers affected by Madagascar ragwort, is that available for us? Seen it.
I assume so.
Through the chair, I'll follow up on that and make sure it is.
Yeah, very good. And then, on the same page, about the monitoring about the Kiwis and Moray heads. Really good story there. It should be in the front of the other cake. Thank you.
I'll just one thing, like the water quality around Maori engagement, that sort of stuff. It would be nice to know that the councillor was invited to those sort of meetings. I think that's a really good way of interacting with the community and getting more understanding. If that could be just, when you're running these workshops, I'm not saying looking at your oil, but through the teams. If these workshops, I'd love to be invited to them so I could really understand what's going on and what NRC is doing. I just see these up in Waima area and Waipua and that sort of stuff. It'd be nice to know if councillor could be just on the list as an invite. Very good. That's what I had.
Just awareness, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. To go along.
Yeah.
Learning from our councillors as well, understanding what NRC's roles.
I'll turn up on Friday.
Just a couple of small points. I'd just like to thank staff for the Lake Ngātu work. It's really vital stuff. Echo his comments about Kiwi Coast, and their results continue to be astounding every year. And also when you look at how little it cost this council, it was about 130k, I think, it was a year, something like that we put in, and the council gets great value from it, but also the community does. The rise in Kiwi and also Pātiki, well, they're holding a line against Pātiki, but the increase in Kiwi is quite, it's a really good news story. So we can thank Kiwi Coast. They're probably our best partner, really. Nice to see the last appeal against the port expansion work disappear. Thank you very much. Also notable this month, a huge amount of field days and workshops that staff are doing across a whole lot of biosecurity, biodiversity issues, which is fantastic. But I'd like to applaud the staff, the biodiversity staff's work on the biodiversity threat assessment for vascular plants. I'm older to remember when Doc led all of that, and we didn't do it. We didn't have to. They did all that work, and it's sad commentary on how under-resourced stock is that we have to do it now. It's just another one of the unfunded mandates that we've been handed. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
John?
Just that map on page 278 with emissions, and apparently Peter Lucas Jones and myself, the worst offenders by area. I'm not quite sure why. And how is that?
Which page is that, John? Sorry?
278. I don't know, but I would have thought Central Whangarei might have been one of the biggest offenders, especially. So I just wonder how the data is created. Was it accurate? So why does Cyprus say decline? Stop.
I don't know the actual answers to that, but I can get back to you on it.
I mean, paper reading should be pretty low.
That's interesting.
Chair, I wonder if we might just take that as an action to follow up and provide some more information.
Bring it back to a governance meeting. You're happy with that?
Yes.
Yep.
Look, I just want to comment on the T2 lanes. I know it's frustrating, but I think the long term it'll work. So I think we've just got to try and get the public behind it. They're very reluctant with those. And obviously when it got introduced, the delays were longer than when they were there. Let's hope everybody gets into it I think it's a good move.
If you live long enough, it might come right. If you live long enough, Rick.
Yeah, hopefully. And I do want to thank the maritime staff again for the boating booklet. I think it's a real go-to thing for Northland, and people, again, they hold one in their boat. It's just a very good thing to have. Safety procedures in there, and the uplift areas is awesome. Thank you.
Okay, so we've got two, Amy and Jack. Oh, sorry, Joe.
I'm last in the queue.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, page 280, Kaya stage 2, 65% complete, which is very good. Just got a simple question. Look, it's going to generate some sediment because you know, when you have something fresh, like the excavation and relocate a river. But have we got a planned deposition and retrieval zone for Kaya, like we have with the Awanui, the Pontani spillway? Doc was very accommodating with us. We let us clear a big area, widen a big area, slow the river right down and drop the sediments before it got in the Round Ending Harbour. Just wondered what we've got for Kaya.
Okay, well, you've got Louisa there, I think, representing the Rivers team.
I don't have that level of detail as to whether or not we've done that. My understanding is that the Kaya project is different to the other two, as in moving the river back more to its original course. But I can get back to you on that. See whether or not that's actually an issue that the staff see as needing to be taken into account.
Your biggest concern is sediment into the Whangaraha.
Well, yeah. There's a lot gets into the harbour, and we want to make sure that we not only want to be exacerbated, but it's something we could actually surely improve. Status quo.
Yes,
there's a continued extraction out below the bridge.
Happy for that to come back through a governance meeting?
Oh, well, yeah, it really needs some bit of planning, because we're sort of blocked by where the CMA delineation is and stuff like that. To actually be actively remove the sediment out of the place where it's depositing. We sort of got ourselves jammed up a bit there. We need an agreement, a variation with the Department of Conservation, Northern Regional Council, and Whanau District Council, the arbitrary line, CMA line. And look, Chris Jenkins with Doc, I don't know how we overcome that one, but he said that makes sense, and it happened up with the Piratahi River, and you know, just all came together very well. Yeah, consent granted. It's good stuff.
Infrastructure committee. Yeah. How do you want to bring it back, Louisa? Through infrastructure committee or river?
Oh, I can do both.
You can do both? Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, no other questions? All right, all in favour?
Aye.
Against? Okay, received. Okay, go to 284, reporting on amended long-term plan 2024 to 2034 performance measures for the year ended 30th of June 2025 by Robin Broadhurst. She's in the room, see it there, and a corporate planning specialist. And we've also got Bruce. We've got a recommendation here. One recommendation. Do I have a mover and a seconder?
I'm happy to move that it be received. Kia ora.
Yeah, second.
Okay, Peter Lucas Jones, you'd like to open up with a discussion?
Not at this stage. I'd like to hear our author speak to the report. Any questions I have, I'll then raise my hand. Kia ora.
Okay, so we take this as councillors have read this. Is there no items to be highlighted? Is there any questions to be made around this? Amy?
It's not really a question, but just thank you for the explanation of where we have the not achieved, because obviously we sort of flick through and look for those red marks, but it's always very well clarified what the issue is around the stats for achievement, and often it's not actually a council, it's not something under council's control. So it's just really helpful to see that explanation so that we know where there are areas of concern or not. So yeah, thank you. Well written report.
But I see some are 95% still not achieved. It's pretty.
Yeah,
pretty close.
I know. Yeah,
Yeah.
some of them, the stats just mean we can't get the 100. So yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. John?
Just to confirm, Chair, that these are our end of last financial year report stats. These are being audited at the moment and will form part of your annual report that will be presented to the councils to September. So next month, your last council meeting as part of your annual report.
Okay, right. Peter Lucas Jones, you got any discussion before we wrap this up?
As I mentioned before, I'll raise my hand if I have anything to say. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All in favour? Aye. Against?
Aye.
Okay, received. Okay, do we go?
Move us.
Okay, want to move us into confidentiality?
Excuse me, sir, 9.1, receipt of committee minutes.
Yep, receipt of, you're ahead of the game there, Rick. Okay, so we've got receipt of committee minutes, item 9.1. Can I have a mover? So Rick, you had your hand up. I'll take you as a mover. And of John. Okay, discussion around the minutes.
Well, just a brief explanation of the only row I told was Versi sitting under a cell phone tower and I still couldn't get into that meeting. So those are the breaks in the Hokianga.
Have you got any things you'd like to bring up, Joe? Or?
No, it wasn't a meeting. But look, the it's a subsequent meeting. Just thank our staff. We had that on Friday, a workshop actually. And I think we're making really good progress. Staff of the two councils are going to set up a technical advisory group and start to punch out the work program for the board. So that's good. Thank you, staff. Royal.
Okay, so we've got Amy in the room.
Just to add to what Joe's saying, there has been a shrinking funding, which we have expressed great concern about, and also the fact that we're not really getting momentum forward on the beach management plan. So this is a good move forward that I'm really happy that by the close of my 3 years here, that we're actually going to have a plan that's working. And that the beach management board are going to be able to get things done.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see Peter Lucas Jones got his hand up. You'd like to add something to
that? The question I have is related to page 296 in the actions. It says following up on the request, council representative to provide update regarding sites of significance. Sites of significance from a whānau hapu and iwi respect where the coastline is concerned are things that need to be documented accurately. This is becoming quite a topical issue within the Māori community, this particular action here, and I'd like to learn what will be done to implement the accurate recording of those sites of significance as requested by Harata Brown. It's a significant issue and it's going to escalate significantly.
Okay, we've got Reuben. Reuben can respond. Yep.
So we've been working with the Tohi Beach Board to identify the sites of significance for including in the regional plan amendment. What we'll be doing prior to bringing it through a plan change process is working with council to present the beach board's endorsed process, and if that, so there will be an opportunity to review the process by which we work with the board to identify the sites of significance for including in the plan. I'll just caveat that by pointing out that the plan change process itself, because of the recent amendments to the RMA, the government has effectively put a halt to plan changes. So what we're currently doing is working with the beach board around a path forward around the plan change process. So although we are working on the plan change, there are some hurdles that are needed to be overcome through a process that will need to go through.
With all due respect, my question is about precision and accuracy. The incorrect recording of sites of significance and the associated karangatanga or iwi group is actually a significant issue. Harata has raised this to the attention of the board. I'm now following up to understand how this is going to be corrected and whether there's a willingness within council to correct those inaccuracies. As one of the tribes that are participating in the beach board, I think it's important that we find a way to respond to their representative. Do we have a way to do that?
I'll hand over to Oriel to respond to that. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Ruben. At this point, Peter Lucas, we need to go back and find out how we can do that, because I understand some of the issues are also around what is included in the planning process through FNDC as well. And there's some need as well to address some of the issues and concerns that were raised by Te Aupōuri on behalf of, by Harata on behalf of Te Aupōuri to understand what has happened through that plan change. So at this point in time, the best response I can give you on behalf of us and the council is that we will raise that with the technical advisory group, because in that technical advisory group, we will identify the iwi representatives, the iwi technical support, as well as the FNDC technical people that need to be at that table to understand all of the issues you're raising. I also note, and I'm not going to put George on the spot either, but George has got the answer and he's right here as well. So I just want to just take a moment, and joking aside, it is an important issue, but there are some things here that we need to get oversight around across the councils, and how the councils provide and work through better accuracy around those sites of significance, and who are the mana whenua of those sites of significance. So kia ora, Councillor Jones, and I'll just pass over to George because he's part of this corridor as well.
Tēnā tātou. My position, my preference recommendation would be that we have to go back to each of the mana marae for sign off on their view and border around those sites of significance. If there is a mana whenua landowning status, then that would be a smaller hui, but ultimately again we'd have to go back to each of the marae for that sign off, in particular those marae north of Awanui.
I have spoken with those that have raised concern. They are concerned that Pōtahi Marae has been incorrectly associated with an iwi other than Te Aupōuri. They are concerned that the sites of significance that are legitimately documented in our treaty settlement, which this particular statutory committee is born out of, it's born out of our treaty settlement, is now being weaponized against the tribe in so much as the incorrect documentation of sites of significance that we are legal owners to. And as such, the community have raised responding by closing access to the beach, which we have the right to do because people drive across our land to get there, which is a privilege, it's not a right. So I do ask that we have some urgent attention to this matter to clarify a way forward urgently to ensure that FNDC also understands the importance of the issues that are being topically discussed amongst the relevant iwi groups. Kia ora.
So that's an action point taken.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
Because if we see the closure of Hukatere, which could occur, if the landowner decides they're closing that beach access until this is rectified, there will be no access there, which I think must be avoided at all cost. Kia ora.
Yeah.
Okay, action taken, Peter Lucas. Any other discussions around the... Yes, Amy?
Moving on from the beach board, if that kōrero is finished. Just wanted to speak briefly around the Joint Climate Change Adaptation Committee. And not so much a comment on the minutes, but I just wanted to acknowledge our NRC team who provide the administrative support for the functioning of that committee, which is a joint committee of the 4 councils and tangata whenua representation from across Northland. So we've had our last meeting for the term, and so I guess just wanting to acknowledge Louisa and the team for all the support that goes into supporting that committee to function. And we don't meet very often, but I know there's a lot of work in the background to prepare the papers. And we've done a lot of work this term to try and, last term we set the committee up and got it established. This term we've sort of had a chance to see how it's functioning and to realise maybe it can achieve more with a bit more clarity of focus. So we've done some good work recently, again led by the NRC team, to pull together some guidance and advice to the incoming committee next, after elections, and hopefully set them up to hit the ground running and be sort of quite high performing in terms of what we need for our region in relation to establishing long-term plans and things like that. So yeah, just wanting to thank Louisa and the team for all that support, and look forward to seeing where it heads next term. Thank you.
Okay, Jack.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My question relates to the J-Red minutes. Stop me if I'm getting into sensitive, confidential side of things. I'm interested in the investment and growth reserve enabling investment funding decisions on Tupu Grove Northland at $250,000 of the reserve. Is it something that we need to be monitoring, or do we need to have subject of a workshop, or is it something that
it's not confidential?
No, it's not. Well, I see that, but I'm just worried about if there's any commercial sensitivities there.
Not that I'm aware of. No.
Okay, because it's not consistent with investment IGR criteria, but it's considered as a one-off allocation. Is it something we need to be monitoring?
Well, part of the fund will be is the government has come out with $17 million to look at Northland as a pilot for resilient pastures, and part of our input will be 1 FTE into that. We will obviously it's in juvenile stages now. It's not that it's due to be launched maybe this summer, spring, so that's probably some of it. Peanut trial, I'm not sure whether it's all part of that rules. Yep.
Okay, I'm happy with that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Received. Okay, we go to page 308, item 9.2.
Yep.
Working party update. So I hear Rick is putting his hand up.
Yep.
Okay. Jack. Any discussion there, Rick?
I just wanted, I've already mentioned the 2 lanes. It's the first working party update, but I know we've talked about increased fares and so forth. It's not mentioned there, but I do think we're on the right path. I know everybody's a bit hesitant about what's going to happen, but let's just keep persevering. I think we have to keep trying for Northland to get our public transport going. So let's all be positive about it anyway. Hasn't been a great story so far.
Any other discussions?
John, I was just going to ask the point. What's the difference in on buses?
On what?
On the buses with that lane. Any difference?
I don't think we've got those figures yet. We haven't, no.
It's only been open for what?
It's only been open for like a month. Yeah. Thanks, John. Good question. Don't think we've got it. Will we?
Okay, Jack.
Mr. Chairman, just a minor thing. I think against the Whangarei Public Transport Working Party, it should have Councillor Stolwerk against it because he's now the current chair. Not.
Oh no, that was you on 21st July.
Oh, okay.
I was away then, I think.
There's another.
Quickly we forget.
No, I can't remember actually.
Just to one thing here in the biosecurity, biodiversity, concerns of future funding, cultural, environmental, and economic importance. kauri we discussed. I just thought I'd raise in front of council that we face the risk of having no more national funding for the Te Kia kauri program or the whole national kauri program. So we could have a dump back on in our laps, but I believe we can build a case for continuation beyond that. We know that there's a possibility of it being renewed and a possibility of it maybe being less, or a possibility of it being discontinued. So we intend to look across iwi and Hapu and other groups that are currently working in that space to put a combined case to go to government. So we'll probably put a hui together fairly soon.
What are you saying, Dave, because you're working on it?
We're working on what's staff are working on it on our behalf.
Thank you. Well done. Okay. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Received. Okay, so we're just going to public excluded.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realise that we finished that completely because we didn't have any comment on Te Rangi. I wonder if I could just.
I had a chance people put their hand
all
up.
gone, has it?
That's
all
gone. Move on.
Yep.
Okay.
Just an appreciation of the agenda each time, the clarity of the agenda, the depth of the agenda. And I just want to make that for public comment.
Okay.
Second.
Second, John.